This mountain pass is a part of the California National Historic Trail. Picture yourself in 1850 journeying along this route. You are 1,000 miles from home, walking alongside hundreds of other immigrants, their animals, and their wagons. On this remarkable trail, you will travel over 1,600 miles across 10 states from Missouri to California. You will face many hardships on your journey: blistering heat, intense thirst, hunger, and disease. Over 250,000 people attempted this treacherous journey, and sadly, 1 in 10 died trying. Nevertheless, you persist in your endeavor in hopes that you will reach California before winter sets in. This is the story of how the Oregon-California Trails Association, or OCTA, and Nevada Gold Mines have come together to ensure the preservation of one of the most pristine sections of the trail. John Winter, historian and former president of OCTA, made this preservation possible.
Well, my name is John Winter. I was born in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, just a suburb of Pittsburgh.
John, a resident of Placerville, California, is passionate about preserving the history of the Old West. He is a member of the Oregon-California Trails Association and has spearheaded an effort to protect Gravelly Ford, along with the nearby section of the California Trail. Gravelly Ford, located west of Emigrant Pass, is a crossing of the Humboldt River that was used by hundreds of wagon trains, people on foot, and horseback, as the Gravelly River bottom provided a safe passage when the water level was low enough. John's commitment to preserving the trail has allowed the legacy of the journey to continue to be shared and remembered.
A fellow by the name of Lansford Hastings opened up a route. It left Fort Bridger, followed into the Salt Lake Valley, over the Salt Flats, came to the Ruby Mountains, had to go to the south of the Ruby Mountains, came up through Huntington Valley, and it tied back into the California Trail just east of here by about 15 or 20 miles. So once the immigrants got to this particular point, this was it. This was the main trail.
Gravelly Ford was a hinge point. Water and grass were plentiful and good for the first 100 miles of the Humboldt River until Gravelly Ford. For the next 200 miles, the quality and quantity of water and grass would decline until the river disappeared entirely at the Humboldt Sink.
The importance of this site today is that we're in the process of trying to preserve not only the trail, but the historic site here of where the immigrants camped and what have you. If you think about it, at times there could have been 500 to 1,000 covered wagons here and thousands of cattle and so forth in this one spot. But the importance of this site is that we are very close to creating a conservation easement with Nevada Gold Mines that will preserve not only the trail leading down to this site, but 100 meters around this particular site itself. It will become part of the conservation easement. And this is to protect this and preserve it into perpetuity for all of the future generations.
The California Trail, including Gravelly Ford, passes through private land owned and operated by Nevada Gold Mines.
So I'm Chris Jasmine. I'm the manager of biodiversity and rangelands for Nevada Gold Mines. I'm a sixth-generation Nevadan. Family first came to Nevada in about the 1860s.
Chris is very familiar with this remote land and understands the value of preservation when the opportunity arises.
Mitigation projects are really a big part of what Nevada Gold Mines does here in eastern Nevada, whether it be wildlife mitigation, whether it be cultural mitigation, whether it be historic mitigation. When we have the opportunity on these ranches that we operate to preserve something or protect something or enhance something, it really means a lot to us in our business model to make sure that we take those opportunities and capitalize on them. So the first time that I probably observed Gravelly Ford and the trail down through was actually at the unknown grave site. And I think that site to me is the most moving of all the stretches that come through the Horseshoe Ranch. Just because there's people that had dreams that came out, and those dreams ended, and they ended right here on this portion of the ranch.
The remoteness of Gravelly Ford has kept this part of the trail in pristine condition. John saw the opportunity to work with the Nevada Gold Mines and the Oregon-California Trails Association in 2013 to promote awareness and protection of this area.
The trail had not really been mapped to the standards that OCTA does. They call them MET standards, Mapping Emigrant Trails, where you physically go in and map the trail and you classify the trail.
Founded in 1982, the Oregon-California Trails Association promotes appreciation, understanding, and stewardship of the trails and their stories. They strive to educate the public about 19th century westward expansion, providing opportunities to experience the trails firsthand.
The Oregon-California Trails Association is an amazing organization. There are people who care about preserving historical sites, wagon ruts and trails. Grave sites are very important, and other kinds of historical places.
Yeah, so here on the Horseshoe Ranch is a pretty unique stretch of the trail where the immigrants that came over Immigrant Pass came down through the ranch and then ended up reconnecting with the Humboldt River at a place called Gravelly Ford. Because it is fairly remote, there are portions of that trail that you can still see very plainly, and because of that, it was identified as a pretty important stretch that needed some protection.
And also, I think, is an opportunity for the mining company to show to the people that, look, we do have something that's worth preserving. We're in the business of mining, but we also want to do something to help preserve part of history.
And really, that's how we got going on this project, to look at preserving portions of the California Trail where they cross through our Horseshoe Ranch.
This grave site that I'm sitting in front of is located up out of the plain, dry land, just literally 500 yards maybe from the actual crossing or of the river itself. But it's significantly part of the Gravelly Ford site.
Job 19:26. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God.
This human connection to our past and the land itself should never be lost.
If you look at the National Park Service on the Oregon Trail, they indicate that the Oregon Trail encompasses approximately 2,000 miles. The California National Historic Trail encompasses about 5,000 miles. The mid-1840s, when things really picked up, we were in that era where the term manifest destiny came into play.
The idea of manifest destiny, the notion that all land between the Atlantic and the Pacific was up for grabs, combined with economic hardship on the East Coast, sparked a great migration of people. Inexperienced travelers often hired guides, usually ex-trappers or military men colloquially referred to as mountain men. They offered the necessary skills and wilderness experience to keep them alive on the trail.
It was difficult for the Native American people. I mean, here comes this onslaught of people over their land. I don't think there were any rules and regulations at that time about what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours and so forth.
My name is Leah Brady, and I am a White Knife Shoshone, and which is part of the Western Shoshone today. We call ourselves Western Shoshone. We've lived in this area for more than 15,000 years. So I'm part of the White Knife band that lived along the Humboldt River. And I've lived here all my life in Elko, and my mother was also born here. And my father was born in Beowawe, which is down by Gravelly Ford. So he grew up in that area. So they had close contact with the immigrants that came through here.
Preserving the river crossing at Gravelly Ford, along with a significant portion of the California Trail, keeps this wild and remote place free from development.
So we have a tendency to want to change history, but it's important to tell the story. And you can tell the story by preserving what is there or putting together the journals and the facts and so forth. But we need to tell the story. The preservation aspect of it is difficult because you have to really pick and choose where you want to draw the line in the sand.
When we preserve and understand our past, when we keep the connection to the land and the people who were there, we are better able to understand who we are. And just as those living long ago, we can rise up to the challenges life has for us and emerge stronger together.
There's so much to learn. They made mistakes. They did incredible things. So we can learn from both. We can learn cooperation. We can learn that we can do hard things. It's possible if you're positive, if you exercise faith, if you have a good belief system, and you hang together as a group, you can do amazing things.
Preserving our national historic trails is essential to safeguarding our nation's fascinating history. To learn more, please visit octa-trails.org. Our past can disappear in the blink of an eye, but together, we could save our wild places and our history.